recording that.
Perfect. So I'm ready for my interview.
Who's gonna start? Do you want to start, Matt? Why don't you start? There you are. Okay. Just read one out. The ones that are highlighted, Sophia?
Yes, in green.
Okay. In green.
Where are the outside areas that we are allowed to use?
Oh, okay, good question. So we have lots of outside space, don't we, at the Mendip School? We have a playground that is just for the very young children, which has some different play equipment on it, and that's outside their classrooms. And then we have a main play area, which is at the back of the school, and that's tarmacked. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
And there's lots of different activities that you can do on that. So you can do, sorry, I had a phone call. I've just hung up on a stranger. So you can do lots of sport activities out there, and it tells you different things you can do in different spaces, like jumping and skipping. And there is some climbing stuff there. And then behind that, we have the Golden Mile. What's the Golden Mile, Theo? Do you want to tell us?
Can you like walk? It's like to walk around the Golden Mile.
Yeah, and you can cycle sometimes, can't you?
Yeah,
Too?
cycle.
Skip?
Yeah, skip. Lots
Hop.
of different things. Hop.
And then behind that, we've got, run's a good one. Behind that, we've got a really big football field, which is just grass. And at the back of that, there's some areas that some of the children like to go and play in the dirt in, which is lovely. And then we've also got what's called a mugger, and that's a multi-use games area where lots of the classes like to play football or they like to play basketball. And then down the side of the secondary classrooms, you've got a little bit of outside space, haven't you, that we're using at the moment? But most of the time, that's just the way that you get out to the big playground. Good question.
Yeah, do you want to ask the next one? The first one.
The first one. Yeah. When will we be able to meet people from other classes?
Oh, that's a really good question. And if I'm honest, I don't know the answer to that question. What we were thinking this week was that if you really wanted to see your friends, you could have virtual meetings with them. So like we're doing now, because we're in different parts of the school, we can have a chat. You could have a chat with some other people in other classes. If you wanted to. Who are you missing, Theo?
Well, mainly people that are not in school at the moment. But
Well, you could do that with them as well if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Maybe all of Violet class could have like a Teams meeting like this and get together.
Have it. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. That's number 4. Oh, yeah. How many students are allowed in this class now?
In every class.
In the class. Sorry.
Okay. So we have in primary classes when it's normal, we have 10 children maximum. And then in secondary classes, we have 12 children maximum. And then in post 16, we can have up to 14.
Brilliant.
Nice.
Thank you.
Theo, carry on with number 3.
where do we have lunch?
So most people have lunch in the big hall, and they have tables that they set out in their class groups, and they sit with all their classes and have lunch. Some people have sandwiches, some people have school dinners. Today for school dinners, there was some kind of pie. Was it beef pie?
I don't know.
None of us have it.
None of you had it. Did you have the jacket potato?
Have roast on Wednesdays
Yeah,
and fish and chips or pizza on Fridays, don't we?
yeah. Those are the best days to have school dinners. And you sometimes, every day they offer jacket potatoes. So you can have jacket potatoes with either beans or cheese or tuna and sweet corn. But you both sit in the hall with your class, don't you, to eat lunch?
Yeah.
And do you like it? Do you like sitting in the hall?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might be a bit noisy.
Yeah, sometimes it's a bit noisy, and I think some children, some young people might choose to eat somewhere else. And we're always happy to have that conversation with people who feel like they don't want to be in the hall because it's noisy. But some people just sit on a table on their own, and that makes it a little bit easier. So we're quite flexible as long as people eat.
Great. Max, ready number 7?
When we will be able to go for school trips again?
Oh, I don't know, Max. Again, it's really tricky, isn't it? But normally we would be doing lots of trips at this time of year and going to places like Breen and the beach and Weston-super-Mare and having ice creams and for long walks and reward trips bowling. Where's that, Luce?
Longley.
Oh, Longleat normally happens this time of the year too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And as soon as we can get back out and go to those places, so some of those places are opening up again now. Longleat, I think, is opening next week for the safari.
Yeah.
So as soon as we can, we'll be out on our minibuses again, going on trips, which would be amazing.
You can only eat in the drive-through.
Okay, thank you for the information.
McDonald's has opened.
McDonald's is open, the drive-through is open, but the queues are a bit too big at the moment for us.
Thank you, Max.
Thank you, Max. Okay, Theo, number 5.
Everybody knows that.
We are expecting a long answer now.
What are the timetables like?
Oh, so we have 2 different ways that we do timetables. So your class is Violet class, isn't it? So your year 7s and 8s, or all 7s, Sophia?
7 and 8.
7 and 8. So you stay with your teacher for most of the week. So Sophia is your class teacher and she stays with you for most of the week. And normally you have the same TAs in with you. You're lucky at the moment because you get to spend a bit of time with Lucy, and Lucy's not usually in that class. But normally you have the same adults, don't you, all week?
Yeah.
When you get a little bit older and you need to have teaching of subjects that is specialist so that you can do GCSEs and qualifications, then you might spend most of your week with your teacher, but you will also have teaching of maths, English, ICT, DT with other teachers who are in the school. So you will know everyone and it will be okay. But those are the 2 different kinds of ways that we set up the timetable. But there's lots and lots of good stuff on the timetable. Sophia does DT for everyone, don't you?
Yes.
And everybody loves that. We do lots of cooking. We do art with Ginny this year, although we'll have a new teacher for art next year. And then science we do sometimes with Ian and sometimes with your teachers. I do maths with some of the older children. Angela does English with lots of the kids. And then you do lots of other stuff in your timetable. So what's your favourite bit of your timetable?
I like all of it.
It's all pretty cool, isn't it?
I like food tech and like ICT.
Yeah.
Max, Golden Mile in the morning.
Yeah.
The energy out before we start our
I
day.
like that we've been able to go up to the hill.
Yeah, that is nice.
And what's the best part of your timetable?
Reward time.
Oh, I forgot about reward time. How can I forget that? Oh. So Max, do you want to say what reward time is?
Max, what is reward time? Can you explain?
At the end of the day after we go home.
Okay, can everybody get reward time, or only those that are working hard and they're listening?
Not everyone.
Okay.
Some people.
People that they are doing very good job and they are listening very well.
On the top of the chart.
And what kind of stuff can we do during reward time? What kind of activities?
Drawing.
Drawing, yes. What else here?
We can make drinks or have devices.
Yeah, have the cafe.
Oh, we did this year. We had social cafe, didn't we? So you could have like a little cafe in your classroom. I used to like doing Sing Star in reward time. That was my favourite. But bikes as well. Sometimes people go out on the bikes for reward time.
Or have football with Martin.
Football with Martin. Lots of people love that, don't they?
Lots of interesting things.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we have any other questions. Number 8, Theo.
When will we be able to go back to the school cafe again?
Soon, I hope, Theo. I'm hoping that we'll be able to open it up for people inside the school fairly soon. So we have a cafe, don't we? We're very lucky to have a cafe on site. And we have a lovely lady called Julianne and a chap called James. James does our school dinners and he helps in the cafe and runs the cafe. And we get to go in there if we're really good sometimes, don't we? And get a snack and a drink. And the teachers, I think, are all really missing getting the coffees from the cafe. So as soon as we can open that back up, we will. And as the young people in the school get older, they get to work in the cafe and learn how to use the coffee machine and make coffees for all their adults.
Great. He knows how to make perfect teas.
Okay, and Max, the last one, please. Are we going to have only one teacher?
Number 10.
Whoops, sorry.
Okay.
Are we allowed to bring and use our own devices? And if yes, when?
Oh, you're testing me. Do I know the rules about devices? Oh, I'm going to have to think about this one. So it's slightly different for primary and secondary classes. So everyone can bring in their own devices as long as they use them as the adults ask them to. That's the rule. So in primary classes, that means that you can have them when you come into school on transport or with your mums and dads or whoever brings you in, and then you put them away until it's reward time at the end of the day. For secondary pupils, we think you're a little bit more responsible, and so you can have your devices at break times and lunch times sometimes when you get a bit older, and also for reward time. But when the adults ask you to put them away, they normally go into a box in your classroom and get put away safely, and you will be given them back when it's time to have them again. And if you stick to those rules, then you can bring your device in as long as your mum and dad agree, or whoever looks after you at home. And if you don't, then we do what's called a 24-hour ban. Has anybody had a 24-hour ban?
Not in here.
Not in pilot class.
They're behaving very well with their devices.
They're very good. But what that would mean would be that for that day, you are not allowed to bring your device into school, and whoever looks after you at home would keep it at home for you, because we think that teaches you to be able to manage it properly, and then we give you a chance to try again and do better. Good question. And that really tested me, because we haven't had to use that one for a while, have we? Devices.
I don't think we have any more questions on the list, unless you guys think of another question that you can ask Natalie now.
I don't really know.
I mean, it's a very tiring process, isn't it, this interview?
How can we stop the recording, Nat?
So, yeah. Theo's got it, hasn't he? Do you want to see the puppy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll bring her round to your outside area.